Good afternoon, everybody. I'd just like to thank those of you who have already joined us. My name is Sarah Lewis from NetThreat. We will be starting shortly, promptly, hopefully, at 2 p.m. So just bear with us while we have a couple more people coming through the lobby. Just a reminder for those who've already joined that the session will be recorded and there will be plenty of time for Q&A at the end. And of course, you're also very welcome to use the chat facility. Thank you. Just bear with us another minute or so. Thank you. Welcome to those who are just coming through the lobby now. We will get started in a minute or so. My name's Sarah. I work for NetThreat in client engagement and marketing. Just bear with us a few more minutes and we will get the session underway and I will introduce the guest panel. Thank you for joining us. Okay, my name's Sarah Lewis. I'd like to start the session now. For those of you who are attending and joining us, thank you for doing that this afternoon. Just a little few things to go through to start with. We will be recording this webinar and obviously making that available on demand after the session. I'd like to start by introducing our guest panel this afternoon. So we're joined by two SonicWall experts, and many of you, of course, will recognise our very own Dan. So I'd like to start by asking Jamie to introduce yourself, please.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Sarah. So Jamie Walls, Territory Account Manager here at SonicWall. I look after the team at NetThreat as well as not. So my role is to support those guys and their customers, ensure they've got everything that they need from a SonicWall perspective, and support them from start through to finish. And of course, any challenges that we face along the way, sort of post sales as well. I'm on hand to support NetThreat to get the issues resolved, should there be any. I've been at SonicWall for about 3 years now, and yeah, we enjoy working with the guys at NetThreat, and happy to be here today. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks. And over to you, James.
Hi, I'm James Muller, Senior Solutions Engineer. Been with SonicWall 6 years now, well, 6.5 years now, but kind of sat on all sides of the fence, from reseller to end user, and now with SonicWall. So I know all the skeletons, as they were might say. So I look after anything pre-sale, pre and post sales, supporting obviously NetThreat in that process.
Thank you. And Dan.
Good afternoon, I'm Dan Phillips. So I'm your account manager at NetThreat. I've been with NetThreat for about 3 years now, but I've been in the industry working with SonicWall for the past 12 years. So I came from distribution. So I was senior account manager looking after clients from a distribution point of view, looking after SonicWall. So I'm your sort of day-to-day contact. So anything SonicWall, please do reach out.
Thank you, guys. So I'd just like to say thank you again for joining us. We've had a few more people come through the lobby, so thanks for giving up your time this afternoon. I hope you're going to enjoy this. We're really excited to be promoting this new solution from SonicWall Cloud Secure Edge. And without further ado, I will hand over to Jamie. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. So if we just jump into the first slide, please. Great. Thanks, James. So as you're all aware, the world has changed dramatically of recent times. If you think of sort of that transition to cloud, less people have sort of on-prem appliances. People aren't working from their office. as much as they used to, where they'd have maybe their desktop and just work their 9 to 5 and go home. And obviously the cloud apps as well. So if you think about applications that you guys use today, so Office 365, Salesforce, Dropbox, etc., all of those resources are moving to places with lower levels of trust. So that's obviously been a huge step in part of this zero trust network access journey. The work from anywhere, people want and need to work remotely. So working from hotels, airports, from conferences. Obviously, there's a little thing called COVID that happened a few years ago. Obviously escalated that, and the proof of working from home obviously accelerated that as well, and was a catalyst for that hybrid work. And then finally, we've got new attack vectors. So obviously we're seeing more and more attacks. Hopefully you're all familiar with our SonicWall threat reports, but we're seeing a huge increase of threats across all, and I'm sure you guys are fully aware, but budgets are becoming more and more smaller. You're having to do more with less ultimately. If you think the average person, they say, carries 5 devices now, which sounds quite a lot, but if you think you've got a laptop, your personal phone, work phone, maybe an iPad and an Apple Watch, they soon add up. So it's important that there's more exposure points within the network. People working from home using their work device personally as well, whether that's Netflix, whether that's Now TV, other applications that they may be using. So the ability to have to protect all of that whilst having the same amount of budget, if not smaller. And obviously, if you've got an IT team, for example, where you had a team of 5 or 6, actually you're going to be nearing to double that size to both manage and protect everything that's out there. Next slide, please, James. So I just wanted to go through this. I think our industry is terrible for sort of listing a load of buzzwords. So there's a number here. So if we just go through them all, essentially, I think there's a lot of acronyms. A lot of people assume everyone knows exactly what they are and what they mean, and they sort of get thrown out. The acronyms get used quite a lot, but actual people don't necessarily know. Not everyone knows exactly what they mean. So today we're probably going to talk around zero trust network access. So as you can see, sort of policy-based access private resources replaces traditional VPN, and also CSE does the security service edge as well. So delivered as a cloud service solution that protects the SASE applications, etc. Typically, a lot of these ones, so SaaS and SSE, typically come from Gartner. Sort of us as vendors, we're just as guilty for using the acronyms, but Gartner sort of position them, and then it goes out through the network. So just wanted to make sure everyone was familiar exactly with all of those words and what they mean and how we're using them. Thank you, James. So as you're all aware and should be aware, hopefully, SonicWall, typically known as that sort of network and infrastructure security, we've done a great job in that space. Firewall's been the bread and butter for us, but as we've progressed forward and need to progress with sort of the way the industry's going, we've done a couple of acquisitions. So we recently acquired a company called Banyan, which is a SSE, sort of that zero trust network access, which we're going to talk more on today, which has now been rebranded as SonicWall Cloud Secure Edge. And then we've also acquired a company called Solutions Granted, which is now sort of does that managed detection response, endpoint detection response. So we now sort of have 3 pillars for that solution as an organisation, all wrapped into Sonic Platform. So that's due to come out, James, is it Q4 Sonic Platform? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, probably more. It has slightly slipped, so
Okay.
either back in the Q4 or beginning of next year.
All right, great, thank you.
It is in beta at the minute now, so.
Awesome, and that's going to give you like a holistic view of all of these parts of our business, rather than having to jump from here, there, and everywhere. And then we deliver it by partners. So NetThreat, a platinum partner of ours. We don't transact anything direct. We do everything via our partners such as NetThreat. And yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it without them. So yeah, huge thanks to NetThreat for that. Thank you, James. Next slide, please. That's okay. So what is CSE? So ultimately it's sort of split into 3 things. So it's cloud delivered, intelligent routing, and zero trust security. So when we say cloud delivered, consumption-based model. So you can, I think minimum quantities is 10. So start from 10 users all the way up to to 10,000 plus, and you pay for what you use basically. So per user per month basis, you're not sort of tied into, I guess, historically sort of our SMA appliances where you'd have that device and be adding VPN licenses on for a set period of time. We do a 1, 2, and 3 year model, but predominantly the way we've seen it take off so far as we've launched it properly under CSE is via that per user per month basis. As mentioned, scales easily from small home offices to large enterprises, and we'll touch on some of those end users that we've been dealing with recently. Intelligent routing. So ultimately, James has got some slides on this later, but it basically picks the fastest route. So traditionally coming from my device, if I was remote, connecting back into the network, back out, and then wherever I wanted to go to a particular SaaS application, actually go straight into the command center and back out. And then obviously from a zero trust security perspective, always authenticating, always checking, and making sure it's nice and secure. Next slide, please, James. So use cases for CSE and where you can use it. So modernize your VPN and firewall with zero trust network access. Protect against internet threats and credential compromise, and then secure high risk users as well. So sort of that bring your own device, working remotely, working from a coffee shop, etc. is obviously huge, and yeah, is done on a daily basis. So it's important that you're protecting your organization and making sure it's as safe as it can be. Slide, please, James. Perfect. And then final one from me before I hand over to James to talk a little bit more around the technology and show you a demo. So as I mentioned, we acquired Banyan. They've got a great legacy. So on the right hand side, all of some of their end users that they've been dealing with. So some huge names there. So from our perspective, we can really leverage that and take it to, I guess, SonicWall's sort of core market, which is that SME space. So if we look at Chick-fil-A as an example, that started at 1 or 2 stores, and actually because of how it worked and the model that sort of Banyan CSE is set up to be, it was easily rolled out across to all stores, and it's across every store now across the states. So again, you can start with a small amount, run with it, and then roll it out as and when to more and more people within your organization, so you don't have to purchase X amount straight away up front, and you're committed to that. You can start slow and build. Typically from a renewal rate, we actually see 113% in renewal retention. So not only is that retaining the customer, actually it's actually expanding within their organization as well. So really good from that side of things. I'll hand over to James, who's going to talk through sort of how it used to work, and then how CSE works moving forward, and then we'll jump into a demo. Thanks, James.
Okay, thanks, Jimmy. Let's just set the scene a little bit. You know, with traditional VPNs, sometimes can bring complex and more poor experiences. Typically, you authenticate once. Sometimes there is posture checking in there, but it typically happens on initial login. There's a control of all the traffic tromboning through the VPN solution. So if you've got tunnel all, unless you've got split tunnel, which can also bring challenges there. Typically can trombone, especially in today's terms when you've got infrastructure as a service and cloud SaaS applications all tromboning through that. So it can actually add latency to those applications, as where, you know, the performance can be a lot better with those cloud applications as we move to a cloud delivery solution. So with CSE, it's industry standard, it's a security service. So it's a cloud delivered solution. You know, it can fix existing problems of VPNs as a service and deliver through a cloud-based platform with our VPN as a service with on-prem resources. We can either sit a small appliance within that network to infrastructure. It's a dial-out connection, but with the new Generation 7 firewall with the latest firmware on, we can build that connector in place now, as well as a zero trust accessing infrastructure resources for things like AWS and Azure and other platforms. the CASB, which is the Cloud Access Security Broker, which helps secure today's cloud-based applications like Office 365, Salesforce and Dropbox, and then the SWIG, or what we class it as a secure web access gateway, helping control today's internet traffic, whether in your office or on the move, it doesn't really matter. So we've got that private and internet access control. So like I mentioned, with the release of 701, so basically pretty much 6 months after we acquired them, we've now built the connector from CSC into the actual Generation 7 firewall. It's a matter of just providing it's in the same tenancy as the CSE. You can then turn on the connector and with very little configuration have remote access into those firewalls, and there's no licensing for that connector. You can have as many connectors as possible, so you can use the benefit of with Generation 7. But like I say, you don't have to have a SonicWall. We can deploy a small piece of Windows software or a Linux appliance to access resources if it's behind a non-SonicWall firewall, but you get the benefit if you do have that capability. Obviously, this is a potential replacement for SMA 100 series, which went end of sales life back in September, but that does have a 3 years, but that has a potential replacement to look at those moving forward. The actual offering itself is built into two distinct areas. You've got secure private access and secure internet access, and then we have what we call basic and advanced license for both. Basic gives you the access to those capabilities, as well as having the advanced edition, which gives you those ZTNA applications for Azure and AWS, as well as having the infrastructure. Rather than put it in a public cloud, you can deploy it within your own environment if it does determine you need that for compliance reasons, and you can control your own POPs. Again, secure internet access can be delivered, and we have what we call DNS security, which gives you basic contents filtering, or you can have the CASB applications where you can federate logins and control that the access to those public-based access, as well have control that internet to keep that device productive. How that sort of goes out, as we mentioned, those particular services. Basically, it's the Secure Edge, and then we have the SPA and the SIA for those capabilities. How it works, there's 3 distinct components. So we have Cloud Secure, the actual app itself, what sits on the endpoint device, and we have a number of clients available for that: Windows, Mac, as well as both Android and iOS, Apple and iOS. The actual Dynamic Edge, which is the POP, and then obviously the Command Control Center for configuring all this. Once you've defined your resources within the cloud, whether that's a connector you've deployed into those, or using the Generation 7 connector, which is in the firewall now. Once you define those resources and you've integrated with LDP providers such as Okta or Entra ID, well, you can then use it to log on and authenticate, and we can use those single sign-on capabilities. We can also integrate with EDR solutions of CrowdStrike, SentinelOne, and our own capture client for API integration. So if we see a potential threat, we can actually disconnect that. And this is all then benefiting from WireGuard technology. So we're using that WireGuard technology to give you that high performance throughput from the connector as well. So we giving that capability. So from a resource, once that's defined, you've got that dynamic routing engine. So from internet access, we can dynamic route to the most efficient way to get to that end resource. And then it's given what we call a trust level, and that can be defined on various components, whether that's you've got disk encryption on, or you've got to have a Windows operating system, and that gives you a high level trust score. You can then build profiles on that. So if that EDR solution with that API integration determines there's a threat coming in and it's on a particular device, that threat level may drop to low, and then we can disconnect you from the various applications. But you may want to still allow something maybe to your help desk to allow us to use the support ticket, or you can disconnect all applications, so you can keep that capability. As well as from a direct internet access capability, we have the actual domain categorization and threat detection, so we can keep that device productive. You can keep it away from various websites, or you want to block various conditions on that device. So we'll briefly go into a quick demo. I'm just going to quickly turn my camera off so I can concentrate on the demo. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so I can switch you to a different screen. Bear with me a second. Share my screen. So this is the app, and it sits down in your system tray. So you've got the, where is it, the cloud application. So I've opened the application. You can see that's that trust level capability. So it's even set, even though I'm not logged in yet, you can see it's constantly evaluating this machine, and I base this trust level on various keys. It's the cloud, it's auto up to date in the actual client. It's got disk encryption on, the firewall's on, and it's also integrated with our capture client, so it sees no particular threat, and it's registered with capture client, as well as it's got an up-to-date operating system. And I've put one further evaluation. It's checking for a file on my check, so I can actually show you this capability in action. So you can see it's looking for a file in a folder called EPC and a file called EPC. You'll see that come into action when we go through the demo. Also, that suite capability is still present, so there's a default profile. So for instance, I've got a profile where it's blocking dating websites. So if I try and get to eHarmony, hopefully if this demo gods are working, it's blocked that particular website. So you can keep this device productive as possible. So I'm now going to log in to the application itself, and it's using Office 365 credentials and using single sign-on capability of that application. You see, I'm now successfully logged in, and I've got various capabilities here. I can have a full VPN tunnel to that thing, which has got using the connector itself to my firewall, or I've got access to various applications. One being, just let me check that. Reconnect that. Got reverse proxy to various things like fast view. So I've got an RDP session which will open up, and I've got reverse proxy to my fast view server, so I can open that particular application, and it's asking me to log in because it's giving that a zero trust. So we're always checking and always verifying, and once it's authenticated me, it will reverse proxy to that fast view website. Hopefully, give it a few seconds. While that's happening in the background, I've also got an RDP connection which is open, and you can see it's using that port, so I can bring an RDP session up as well, and I'll just log in. So I've got now an RDP session without a full VPN tunnel being up in place, and hopefully that website hasn't worked yet. Let me try one more time. Maybe my fast view server's not up at the minute. Let me try. I've got also one to my VMware console. See if that one's working. There we go. So this is my VMware console, which I can log into. Again, no VPN tunnel in place. Now, what I am going to do is effectively, I go to my threat score, change a condition. That could be the virus has been detected and it sees a threat. So I'm going to emulate that by changing this file checking. So I'm going to rename that. To a .1, and in order to try and make this go slightly faster, so I'm just going to bring the RDP up, place that there. I'm going to refresh to recheck the policy. Normally it would happen in the background, and that hopefully trust score should drop to low. And instantly you can see there the RDP section's disconnected. And if I was to try and get to there, then I've got unauthorized access to that. So if you want to see more, we can set a further demo with NetThreat, as well as, you know, if you want to have further access into the command source and how that came about, then you can book a demo with Dan, and we can get a further demo to see the actual command control center. And that concludes that sort of the demo section of that. Let me just stop sharing again and put me back on the presentation.
Thanks, James. Okay, so we're now going to hand over to Dan, who's going to just briefly remind you that, if you don't know, about NetThreat and what we can offer.
There you go, Dan.
There we go. Thank you very much. Firstly, I'd just like to thank everybody for joining us today. It's been brilliant. Hopefully that's been a great session. And like James mentioned, we can get demos, we can do trials. I can get James back on if anybody's interested in having sort of one-to-ones with James or Jamie, etc. So anything that you guys need, please do reach out. We're here to help with that. But just to go over kind of a couple of reasons why NetThreat. So we are cybersecurity specialists. That's all we do. We specialize in mainly SonicWalls. So that's kind of our bread and butter. So there's no other kind of bits in there. So this is what we do. So yeah, anything that we can help with on that, please let us know. We've been in the market for 20 years, so established 20 years. We're one of only a handful of platinum partners in the UK with SonicWall. So not only do we kind of get the best discounts and be able to pass that on to you guys, it's also backed up with a level of support and things like having James in the background and Jamie in the background that are on hand to support us, which kind of sets us apart from other partners. We have technical masters within our team. So our technical team, that we have had 2 technical masters that sit within that team, which again is very sought after within the UK. We're one of only kind of, again, a handful that have got that technical mastery. Anything to do with pricing, we do really pride ourselves on giving you guys the best discount that's available. But we know that there are other partners out there that do kind of tend to not work within the kind of programmable discount levels. So anything that you need us to do that needs price matching or anything you need to look at, please let us know. We're always here to help, and we really, really want to kind of support you guys best we can. New monthly options. So all of our SonicWalls, whether it be hardware or software, we can now offer on a monthly package. 24-month contracts, which is a sort of a rolling contract with ourselves. So anything you want to look at on that, please reach out. Let me know. Always here to help on that. Outstanding customer services. Most of you have probably spoken to Preston in the past. Preston's our technical wizard, same as James. James and Preston have worked together for donkey's years. So yeah, anything you need, please reach out. We've got Preston, we've got James, plenty of people to help out. And then lastly, we are climate positive. So we do work with a couple of companies to offset our carbon footprint, which is generally, I think it's a company that we work with, Sarah, that plants trees, I believe, on our behalf.
Yeah. Our latest project was trees, but basically we work to offset the lifespan of any firewall device that you purchase from us.
So there we go. So yeah, that's something that we are really positively working with, and kind of it's a big thing for us to make sure that we are offsetting the carbon footprint of the business and the firewalls. So yeah, thank you very much for attending. If anybody needs anything, please do reach out, and I'm always here to help.
Thanks, Dan. Just got a couple of questions that come through, if I may, before we conclude. This is probably one for James, if you don't mind, James. So why CSE above a traditional VPN solution?
It goes, obviously says that zero trust capability, so we're constantly verifying the end resource you're trying to go. Because you saw in the demo, soon as a potential threat, if you are into API integrating it with that virus, so we can disconnect that connection or that individual, where on a traditional VPN, if that device did come compromised, it should still be connected. There's probably no auto verification going on. You're using that dynamic routing engine to connect to the fastest, to the fastest route to that resource. You're not always tromboing through that firewall.
Okay, thank you. And could you explain, we've had a few questions over the last few weeks re CSE. Do you need firewall if you are using CSE?
I think we are working towards where the firewall is becoming less and less. However, you still need it for that connector, but there's no that we're not quite there yet. There's no one silver bullet, and it's about putting security in layers. Unless you've got a full hybrid working from home type scenario, then that thing. But I think where there is still office environments, it's better to stop it at source rather than not. So I think, there's still that place for the firewall as we speak today. But I think we are working towards becoming it'll become less and less and just become a connector to the cloud where a lot of the services will happen there.
Yeah, and obviously this is a really new solution that we think is really great, and we're encouraging our users, our clients, to actually take a look at it. So if somebody wanted to do that, how easy is it to set up a demo or a trial?
Yeah, we can quite easily do that with through NetThreat. It's just simply we can deploy that via a My SonicWall account. There's a 30-day trial in there. I would say do engage, and we can help you through those little bumps to get you the trial to make it successful. So engage with NetThreat for that to help you get a successful trial deployed.
Okay, that's great. Has anybody else got any questions for James, Jamie, or Dan, or indeed myself?
Looks like there's a couple in the chat, Sarah, if you're okay to go through those on the Q&A.
Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, thank you, Jamie.
No worries.
Okay, so bear with me a second. My own system at home is being a little slow at the moment. Here we go. Okay. Can we get some pricing? So, Dan, do you want to take that?
You're on mute, Dan.
Oh, Dan.
There we go. Take myself off mute, might help. Anything to do with pricing, drop me an email over. I will get pricing over to everybody kind of based on a per user basis. So anything you need pricing, let me know. I can reach out and get all that done for you.
Thank you. Does everyone need a third-party SSO? Who wants to take that?
I can take it. So it does work. It needs an LDP provider. So it can have its own small local database, capacity, but it does need something like Opta or Entra ID. Unfortunately, we don't support on-prem, but we do have other solutions what can do that if it still need if it's held up on-prem, that we still have like the SMA 1000 series or the local firewall what can do that, but it doesn't have the. If you want the zero trust, you're looking more at the SMA 1000 if you want in an LDAP integrated solution.
Okay, thank you. And is there a native Mac client?
Yes, there is.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Any more questions coming through? Okay. I'd just like to bring this session to a close and thank Jamie, James and Dan. If you have any questions, please do give us a call, 0121 270 1800. Please do reach out. This is a really new product. We're very excited about it. So please do jump on a demo or a trial and find out a little bit more about it. And of course, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you,
Thanks
everybody.
all.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye all. Bye.